Hey everyone, my name is Steven and welcome back to Storytime. Without wasting any time, let's get into our stories of the day. Something, English beep. So I'm a contractor, so this happens quite often and people are usually fine once they've realized their mistake. Now this happened to me while I was working over in Northern Ireland. I get sent over to the Emerald Isle quite often and have developed quite a decent ear for the Irish twang. The Belfast accent, however, still manages to evade me quite often, mostly due to speed. Time to set the scene. I'm on the shop floor of a factory repairing some machinery when Mr. Belfast approaches me from behind. J equals me, MB equals Mr. Belfast. Mr. Belfast says something Irish. I'm sorry, were you talking to me? Yes, I was, and you know I was. Now where can I find him? Sorry, I didn't catch what you said and I don't actually work. I said I'm here to see insert name. Now can you tell me where he is? I don't work here, sorry. I don't know who that is. Something Irish. Sorry, what? Don't freak about with me, just tell me where I can find him or when I do, I'll make sure you're in a world of trouble. Now tell me, where is insert name? No. What? Look, when you find him, you can tell him what you want. I don't work here. Points to company logo on shirt I'm visiting. The same as you and I don't know who that is. I'm not even Irish. Something Irish. I'm sorry, I didn't quite... Mr. Belfast then turns and walks away while launching into a massive rant about something to do with English P and respect. I later saw him when loading my tools back into my van and waved at him and pointed to the company livery. He looked like he wanted to kill me. Why do people get so angry about being wrong? I just think unfortunately people have short tempers. If you were in OP's shoes and Mr. B comes up to you and starts demanding where somebody is and all that stuff and saying you'll be in a world of trouble, what would you do? What would you say? Let me know in the comments below. I guess cubfood customers can't see my Boy Scout uniform. As a Boy Scout, we do a lot of volunteer work and service projects. Once a year, we go to a local cubfood and help with bagging groceries as a fundraiser. Now, every once in a while, you get people who are rude about not being helped, but this has nothing to do with them. So I was standing around and I saw these two people looking kinda confused or not knowing what they were doing. So I walked over and asked if they needed help, and they went off and had me help them shop. I realized they were blind. Not completely, but enough to impact their ability to shop. And I helped them for an hour to find all the stuff they needed for a Super Bowl party they were hosting. At the end, they thanked me and were kinda confused about my lack of familiarity with the layout of the store. I just said, yeah, I don't work here. I'm bagging groceries with my Boy Scout troop. Their faces lit up after they realized that I indeed had no idea where anything was. I think they were kinda confused during the whole thing because they kept asking if we had any cheaper chips at the chip aisle. Coincidentally, like 30 minutes before this, I was in the bathroom and another blind guy, this guy was completely blind. I heard him moving around the bathroom and I yelled out over the stall, "The sinks are on your right." He went to turn it on, but it was broken. All the sinks except for one on the end were broken. I told him to use the one on the end. So that's the story of how I confused blind people in a cubfood. Boy Scouts trip or not, I think it's great that OP took the time to help these people out. And I'm glad that it wasn't a entitled version of a story. I'm just an intern. Okay, so a little backstory before I start this story. I'm an intern at a school district tax office. Keyword, intern. I'm not a full-time worker there, 4 hours a day. Nor was I trained for anything other than answering basic questions, providing tax amounts, and guiding them to websites or departments they need for further inquiries. Overall, interns do phone service and do not take payments or any questions specifically for other offices. Another thing to note is that I'm a high schooler. So it was in the afternoon. I just got to where I need to be after school with my friend who was also an intern. I got to my little office area and proceeded to answer phone calls. You know the basics. What's my tax amount? What do I do this, do that? Around 2 hours in, the Karen calls. She asked me questions I know, so I thought it was going to be a normal quick conversation. Boy, was I wrong. She then proceeded to ask me for further inquiries that I had little to no knowledge of. She did it in a way that I had a little time to even respond. During the conversation, I attempt to help her in my best abilities, which is just me trying to redirect her to another office because this one does not do that. Till I gave out and decided to ask her to hold for a while so I can get someone who can help. But of course, I did not have any time to tell her that because she immediately shouts at me to get my manager. At this time, my manager/supervisor was out, so I had to get the next best person. Let's call her Mari. Now Mari is a scary mama. I had Karen on hold, so I briefly explained to Mari everything and said she'll handle it. Now the moment Karen heard Mari, her voice changed. Like a lot. Mari was relaying the exact same answers I provided to Karen. Apparently she didn't like what she heard and went bat poop crazy. She complains how she works at the same school district but for an elementary school as a teacher and wants to hear what she wants to hear. But after that really made Mari and I laugh, including some coworkers overhearing it. My phone was loud enough for people nearby to hear without having to put it on speaker. Here's how it went. K for Karen, M for Mari. Who was that girl before you came here? I want her fired. Ma'am, she's one of our high school interns. Well, no wonder why she doesn't understand what the F I was saying. I want her fired. She shouldn't be working there if she doesn't know what she was doing. I work at Bleep School, which is in the same district y'all are in, so I can march up to HQ and have her fired. Ma'am, she's a high school intern through a program at her school. Even so, we did not train her to answer questions you asked for, because our office are not responsible for it. You have to contact the county office for any further questions regarding that. Not the exact word said, but it goes along that line. Plus, this is Texas. It kept going back and forth like that for what felt like 20 minutes, until Karen decides to hang up because she has work. After that incident, Mari rolled her eyes and got annoyed by the Karen. People these days, said Mari. For the rest of the week, Mari kept telling the coworkers the story of that Karen. My only comment is I'm disappointed that a person like that is teaching kids in an elementary school. A pleasant, though perhaps not 100% completely wholesome I don't work here lady. Many moons ago, I was a college student and went on spring break with a buddy to New Orleans. He was eager to party it up in the Big Easy. Strip clubs were part of that plan, and on our first night in town, found ourselves at one of the nicest clubs on Bourbon Street. We entered, took a seat, and were amazed by how friendly the girls were. Especially to me. They didn't seem to be that chummy with the other guys in the place, so it had to be something about us that made us special. Now, no one ever told me I was ugly, but I don't think I'm to die for handsome. Personally, I feel I look like a cross between Peyton Manning and Christopher Eccleston, but no one else thinks that's the case. As time went by, all the girls in the joint have come over to say hi, rub my head, massage my shoulders, etc. Finally, one of them got a break and decided to spend it with me. She plopped down next to me and began a conversation that implied we'd known each other for ages. As I stared in silent confusion, a look of shock came over her face. You aren't Travis, are you? Nope. It turned out that Travis was one of the bouncers at the club, and apparently I was a dead ringer for him. Like long-lost twin resemblance. I became popular all over again as all the girls returned to marvel at the likeness. We all had a good laugh about it. Lucky for me, Travis was beloved by all the girls, so their opinion of me started out in a pretty high place. But that wasn't the end of it. The girls decided that me and my buddy were cool and started to hang with us during break times and slow periods. No dancing or money changing hands, just sitting and having real conversations. Over the next week, we came back several times and got to know some of them a bit. Some of them even offered to set us up with girls who would do more than just strip, but we politely declined. It was more fun just to sit and be the center of attention and watch all the other guys in the place try to figure out what mojo we had. I never did meet my lookalike twin Travis, but thanks for being a cool enough dude that it made people want to like me. And to Miss Asia, I've never forgotten you and the laughter we shared. I hope you and your little boy, who's gotta be over 30 now, had a fabulous life. Well, that certainly sounds like a very memorable spring break trip. That's all I gotta say. The Drug Shop Hypocrite. Author's note. I'm considered an essential employee during the pandemic and I'm currently still reporting to work as usual. On my lunch break today, I decided to drive up to the SVC drugstore, not the real name as I'm not sure if real shop names are allowed here, to pick up an afternoon snack and some cotton swabs as I'd remembered we'd run out at home. I was crouched in the aisle looking for popcorners, since they're my current favorite snack and find them utterly irresistible. For some reason, miscellaneous flavors were hung on the same hook, so I had to sort through to find the ones I wanted. As I'm putting the other packages back where they came from, a woman approached me and crouched down next to me. Excuse me, where are the dental sticks? Probably next to the floss where they keep the toothpaste and stuff, I'd assume. Thanks. It didn't hit me until then that she mistook me for an employee when she saw me hanging snacks on the shelf hook. I shrugged it off. Not the first time, certainly not the last, and at least she wasn't mean. I made a beeline for the beauty section and grabbed some cotton swabs and scooted over to the registers to check out and go back to work. While I'm standing there, the woman managed to find me again. Now mind you, I'm wearing jeans and a plaid shirt. I don't look like an SVC employee at all. Do these come in larger bags? Probably on Amazon or something, I don't know. I don't work here, I'm sorry. Well, why are you here? There's a quarantine, you shouldn't be out shopping unless you're getting essentials. Why are you here? Dental sticks are considered essential now? I have something stuck in my teeth. My condolences. At that point, a SVC employee made her way over to the register and summoned me to check out, and I hurried out. Not the most of exciting stories, but the possibly unintentional hypocrisy was worth sharing, I suppose. I love that reply, my condolences. I imagine that probably shut that Karen right up. Fancy pants store. This was going back, but I'll never forget. At the time, I worked in a very affluent area at a consulting firm. Often I'd go into town to stop on my lunch break. I was in a fancy pants store and looking through a sales rack. Karen comes over and says, "Where is the so-and-so items?" I look up and smile and say, "Hello, I have no idea where the so-and-so items are kept." Karen starts pushing the rack towards me and says, "I am speaking to you." I say, "I realize you're speaking to me, but I can't help you." Sure, I could have said I don't work here, but I was enjoying the clear aggravation creeping up her face. Finally, I say, "Push the rack again and I'll get security. I do not work here." Karen was sputtering on her spit. Bless her heart. The pure directiveness, aggressiveness, and confidence OP spoke with. That's what I like to hear. Lanyard does not equal employee. I've been lurking for a while and finally remembered that I have a story. This happened within the past year at my local Hot Topic. I can't remember exactly what clothes I was wearing, but it was probably some version of jeans or shorts with a shirt and puppy shoes. I wear a lanyard around my neck that has my car, mail, and house key on with a little wallet that carries my ID, medical ID, and a couple credit cards. I was crouched down looking for a shirt in my size when a little girl, maybe 12, who looked like she was just starting her adventure into goth girl life, came and stood on top of me. I could feel her breath practically in my ear, so I looked at her. "Need this in small," she grumbled and then thrust a shirt at me. "Yeah, I don't work here, sorry." I turned back to what I was doing. "You're wearing a lanyard though." "Oh, what? No way. I still don't work here." Homegirl got her mom and tattled on me, but I dipped out after that. Sorry it's an anticlimactic ending, but it's the first time I've had someone think I worked somewhere I didn't. I think OP probably did the right thing, because I think you probably can't retaliate in any way reasonably against a child without being opened up to a can of worms on what can happen to you. That being said, that's all the stories we have for today, so let me know which of these was your personal favorite you heard today. Let me know which one and why in the comments below. And of course, thank you all for listening to and watching the Storytime channel. If you haven't yet, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to let me know which of these stories was your favorite in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching and listening to the Storytime channel.